The Taconic and Green Regional School District, which covers the towns of Danby, Dorset, Landgrove, Londonderry, Manchester, Mount Tabor, Peru, Sunderland, and Weston, will be holding its information meeting online and virtually this year as part of the pandemic precautions. The meeting will be live streamed over one of GNAT's channels as well as on our website. The informational meeting will allow voters to hear the reports of the school directors and officers and to discuss articles that will be decided by Australian ballot voting. That voting is already underway. Ballots have been mailed out to all the residents of the 9 towns that make up the district, and voters can mail in or turn in their ballots at their local town halls right up through the end of voting on March 2nd. Or you can vote in person, the traditional way, on Tuesday, March 2nd. Some of the articles voters will be able to discuss during the informational meeting include a school budget of $33.2 million. Also on the warning is an article about the tuition rate for Burton Academy, which is proposed to rise by $500 per pupil from the sending towns, from $17,990 to $18,490. Tuition rates for students coming from outside of the sending districts will also see a $500 increase, from $19,990 to $20,490. Coping with the COVID-19 pandemic has been a big challenge for schools everywhere, between arranging for remote learning when and where necessary and keeping school buildings safe places for learning. We met up with School Superintendent Randy Lowe and Supervisory Union Business Manager Sue Wilborn to go over some of the main issues on the school district's warning.
So the first thing is we were able to approve a budget that is a 0.7% decrease. So the voted budget is going down by $232,000 from the prior year's budget. And the main two reasons for that is we have some reductions in staffing, and we also have some return of surplus from the supervisory union. So that impacts the assessments from the supervisory union. So those two things are the main drivers for the budget going down. The other thing that's important to know is right now we're projecting an equalized tax rate that's also going down of about 5.6 cents. And I would say one of the main reasons for that is we were able to use our sizable surplus from last year. We were able to apply that to next year's revenues in order to help reduce the tax rate. The property yield also is a big driver in the tax rate, and we don't yet know what that is, but right now we're using a number that was approved by the House Ways and Means Committee. That's 11,385, and if that number stays as is, then we would see a tax rate that would be a 1.547. It's a 5.6 cent decrease from the prior year.
And are there any items that are changing in the budget that are kind of substantially different from last year that folks might find interesting?
Sure, I'm happy to jump in and just share a couple of things with you related to that. As Sue indicated, we're reducing 6 positions between last year and this year. In the budget, we're reducing 6 positions. We've also purchased a new assessment system and personalized learning system called iReady for reading and for math that we started this year, and that is an addition to our budget. And we are going to be continuing with having a learning management system called Seesaw that we started this year in response to the pandemic. And so we want to continue that. It will look likely very different next year, but teachers and staff have worked incredibly hard to learn a system, and many people have great value in it. And so we want to continue. We don't want to waste the learning that's happened. It's a great tool to use in our classrooms and for our students. The other two kind of additions to the budget are that we will be conducting an equity audit of our entire system to kind of look at equity and how that how equitable our practices are within our schools, and we're in the process of getting that started, so I don't have a lot of details around what that will look like at this point. And then in response to the last year, we've also expanded summer programming, so we've added money into the budget to expand summer programming for more students for the upcoming summer.
So this year, I'm sure, has been a very challenging one, coping with the COVID pandemic and all the ramifications from that educationally. I guess I'm just wondering, looking forward, what do you see as the sort of ongoing challenges, or maybe challenges yet to come, even that are on the horizon? I mean, you mentioned the summer school expansion. I'm just wondering, is that a consequence of concern that some students may have not maintained grade level learning as they would have done if it had been all in-person learning during the school year, or was that driven by another factor?
Right. Well, we know that learning has been impacted, right? Teaching and learning were impacted over the last year, given the conditions we found ourselves in, and so we will be looking at our student performance data. We'll be looking at what's going on, and essentially, we wanted to be able to provide additional learning opportunities over the summer for students. We're not entirely clear what that need is right now, but it seemed like the most appropriate kind of proactive step to make sure that if we determined that there was a need we wanted to address, that we were able to do so.
You'll be able to watch the full interview with Superintendent Lowe and Business Manager Williborn in another segment on GNAT-TV or on our website. As we said earlier, the Taconic and Greens informational meeting will be live streamed over GNAT's channel 1084, as well as on our website at gnat-tv.org. Or you can log into the Zoom meeting itself. The meeting link and login information is available at the Supervisory Union's website, which is brsu.org. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.